Kim's been around here about 15 years. She's pretty infused with his consciousness. She's taken every class and getting ready to go into prac class here in a short couple of weeks here. And Kim works in the tech field. She is in communications. She builds bridges. Hopefully getting people to talk to one another. Isn't that a profound idea? She's an international speaker. She's so much. I'm not going to go on and on. Please just help me welcome Kim Clark.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Looking very vibrant today. What did you think? Yes. There's a prep session that we do before our service starts. And she was talking in the prayer room about all this stuff that's happening, and she's finding other people. Like, there's a lot of energy going on. Anyone else kind of having that kind of like, there's something stirring, something going on? Yeah. Well, my mom studies numerology, and she said September is really this time of the year where the whole year of whatever's been going on for you comes together and challenges you. So hold on. We got your back here at Inner Light, and October will be a new phase. So, my name is Kim Clark. The theme for the month, today is the 1st of September, is purpose. And so I chose the topic on purpose, on purpose. I had to do that, right? It just begged, please play with that. So we're going to play with that today. When I was thinking of the topic, I was thinking like on purpose, like when I was a kid. You know, like, you did that on purpose. Right? Pam mentioned I work in tech. Nothing's changed. There's still the whole like, you did that on purpose. You took that project from me. You said that thing to the manager. You replied all. You did that on purpose. Right? Some things never change. Some of us have a little bit more growing up to do. Well, it's great to be with you. A lot of life has happened since the last time I was with you a couple of months ago, but I get to be with you for the next 3 months. And thank you to Rev D for taking a weekend off to care for herself, right? For those who are new, please come back next week. She will be here for the rest of the month. So by working in tech, being a speaker, I also do like workshops. And I've been asked to either interview for articles or write articles a lot lately. Apparently what I'm trying to do in the world is starting to finally get some traction. And one of the things that I've been following is this organization called the Business Roundtable. Has anyone heard about the Business Roundtable? It's about 181 CEOs that get together. And they talk about what the purpose of a corporation is. Let your mind go. What 181 CEOs would talk about is what the purpose of a corporation is. They recently revised that statement from benefiting shareholders to benefiting all stakeholders. Think of the possibilities. The purpose of a corporation is to serve and benefit all stakeholders. That's employees, that's partners, that's customers, it's shareholders, and it's society. So when we look at the behavior of a corporation, can we be mad at them if they've been thinking that their purpose is to benefit shareholders? Because it's like, come hell or high water, this is what we got to do. This is our purpose. But by shifting that to where it's to benefit all stakeholders and actually show what their purpose is in local and global communities, wow. So that's what I was just interviewed for on an article. It's just like, okay, Kim, is this really going to happen? And I'm like, I don't know. But I know it needs to happen, and it's urgent. Jennifer Dulski is an author of a book called Purposeful. Has anyone heard of it or read it? I'm going to mention a couple of books here, and I always get asked after service, what was the name of that book? I brought them, so I'm being better prepared now, so y'all can come up and look and see which books I'm talking about. But Jennifer Dulski used to work at Facebook, but she also was the head of Change.org. And this is a spiritual community that's probably familiar with Change.org and all the petitions that seem to funnel through there. Well, she wrote this book called Purposeful. And it was asking the question, are you a manager or are you a movement maker? Ooh. I've been a manager since before I graduated college, managing people, so I've taken that side of my job super seriously, so I was super curious of like, what is she talking about here? Like the purpose of a manager being a movement maker. And she says, the two qualities of a movement maker versus a manager is courage and determination. So that got me thinking, okay, courage and determination. One of the things that I have found in my talks is I ask a lot of questions of people, questions that people have never been asked before. And I think it takes courage to hear the questions, show up to be asked questions that you're not used to being asked. That takes courage. And it takes courage to answer them, to have the patience to actually answer hard questions about life, about our motivation. She has a motivation chart that she publishes in the book, and she talks about it in her talks. And it's about what motivates people. Because if you're a movement starter, you've got to motivate people by what they're motivated by. And so the top 3 things that she says that motivate people in her research is being challenged, constantly learning. When you come here every single Sunday, I hope you are learning. I hope you're feeling challenged. To be at a spiritual community for me, actually for anywhere for 15 years, I clearly am constantly challenged. I'm constantly learning. The second one is liking the people that you're with. It doesn't mean that you agree with them, right? But you're respecting them. And hopefully they're not all exactly like you, so you can be challenged, so we can fulfill number 1, right? That's a good thing, believe it or not. And then the third, what's the third? Okay, meaningful work. So meaningful work is very meaningful to me personally, because I've been the kind of person who sees my job as a purpose and sometimes conflated with my identity. Anyone else? Breathe with me on that. I learned this mostly from people who've been in the military, especially right out of high school. They want a sense of purpose. And serving and being with the people that they love and like and are protecting, and that's meaningful work. That's motivation. That makes sense. So what happens when you're no longer in the service? What happens when you're no longer doing that work and you retire, or you lost that job like I did in April? So purpose had to be something bigger for me than just the consequences or the circumstances that I was in. It has to be bigger than that. And ever since I was a kid, I knew I wanted a purpose. I felt like there was a purpose for me. And there were times where I felt super depressed because I felt like I was not living my purpose, even though I couldn't tell you what the purpose was. And I know there's people in this room, online, I've felt this way too, that there may be no purpose. What's the point of even trying to identify a purpose? There is no purpose to any of this. And you struggle with it. But maybe you know what your purpose is, and yet you're resisting it. Like Chelsea just her testimony for 10 years. She resisted her own purpose, and that was to share this beautiful music and lyrics that she's been given to share. 9 out of 10 people die with their dreams and their purpose unfulfilled. Let no one listening to my voice right now be one of those statistics. Don't do it. Find your sense of purpose. And that can be frustrating. You know, you could be 80 and saying, I've been asking that forever. I don't know what it is. It may be super clear to you. It may be super, it may be just shifting around. It may shift at different parts of our lives. What helped me discover what I believe is my purpose, and if I'm wrong, oh, terrible me, but it's not that bad. But I looked at some major life lessons along my journey, and I started to I asked myself, I had the courage and the determination to ask myself some hard questions around what is it about that it connects these large life lessons. So, I've shared before, I came out when I was 28, and I was raised in a conservative Christian environment as a child, okay? That was quite a struggle for me. A very significant struggle, to the point where I became depressed and I actually had suicidal thoughts. So what is it about that experience that turned me around that I can take? What is it about when my sister died when I was 16 years old from a tragic sudden accident while it was her birthday, on her birthday? What was a lesson out of that? My losing the job in April. Fancy title, fancy perks, everything was fancy. Everything that you've read about with tech, I had it. It was good. And then it was gone. So what could I take from that? Because I have to rise above all that. I have to transcend all of those life lessons, because I am more than that. My purpose is more than my circumstances. So what I think is this life's purpose for me is authenticity. So how can I show up in a spiritual community that means so much to me? Because when my sister died, I went deep into my faith. And when I came out and I turned around and I accepted myself, I was still deep in my faith. I wasn't letting that go, regardless of the pressure of the LGBTQ plus community, because it's been so harmed by the church. I wasn't letting it go. And I could still be who I am openly wherever I go, in my spiritual community, in my work. Okay. What does that look like? What does the purpose fulfilled look like? How does it manifest? Well, for me, with authenticity, it's showing up constantly, and it has now informed the work that I do when I'm speaking and doing workshops. I might be talking about diversity, inclusion, and belonging, for example, but what I'm really doing is asking everybody there to be authentic. So, in the affirmations today, it talked about our purpose heals, it uplifts, and it also serves. So that's my ask today. If you don't know what your purpose is, it's okay, because it's going on without you anyway. Maybe you can connect the dots like I have attempted to connect the dots, and allow it to drive you. So you can do and say something on purpose. So what you're doing and saying is not by accident. That you're doing it from a place of service, because our purpose serves. So if my purpose in this life is authenticity, how is my authenticity serving? How is it serving you? Well, it allows me to be vulnerable and tell stories, and I get to share them and I get to teach. And when I am serving my purpose, which I feel like I'm doing right at this very moment, there's a passion in me that cannot be quenched. Has anyone had that experience? When you know you're in alignment, that you are serving your purpose, or it feels something like akin to a purpose, there's a passion there. Every single survey that is sent out after I talk or my workshops, they always talk about Kim's passion. Her passion. Her passion is clear. Passion and purpose. My passion is on purpose. I am driven by my purpose, and it might shift and change. So I look for those lessons. I look for the blessings in the lessons. Even in smaller stuff. Well, maybe this isn't so small, but I'll throw it out anyway. I was in a car accident like 3 weeks ago. My dear, sweet, beloved 2007 car went to car heaven. Its purpose when I purchased it 12 years ago was as a commuter car. It's in alignment with my principles of where I want to have a car that is light on the planet. And I need to be able to get around. It has served its purpose, and it also protected me to the point where the other person involved hugged me. There was a healing that went on. There was a purpose to that. My car sacrificed itself because it knew that I need to move on to whatever my next car is, because the next car needs to serve a different purpose. I'm a single mom now with 2 kids. I need to have a car for my kids, for my family. I can't have a small, cute little thing. But I need to find one now that's still light on the planet, which is a lot harder. But I look for these things now, like when I'm making decisions. I'm conscious about it. I'm looking for it. Like, okay, like the job thing and now the car thing. And you guys know I'm going through a divorce. And I've been, given a whole bunch of news that I wasn't happy about at all. But just going back to like my first example of when we were kids, and we were like, you did that on purpose. So I'm looking at this evaluation, and I'm reading through the custody evaluation and the recommendations, and I'm like, you did this on purpose, right? Well, first of all, I'm on the drama triangle, so got to get off the drama triangle, my friends. That's the victim, villain, hero. You take one off, they all go away. And I did that, and I got curious about the recommendations, and I had the courage to ask. Whereas before, I would just accept the results and be mad about them. Anyone else? Okay, so this is showing me my own growth. And it's part of my purpose of being authentic. It is inauthentic to me of some of these recommendations. It doesn't feel in alignment. So I got curious, and I had the courage to ask additional questions to authorities. Like, where are you coming from with this? No drama. I didn't tell him what I really thought about him. I got curious. And that was a really courageous thing for me to do. I don't know if that's hard for you, but that was hard for me. And I learned what this guy was doing was he was saying, don't look just here. I'm thinking about here. And if we do this right and well, there's a here. And it completely changed my perspective of where he was coming from. Completely shifted my energy. So he is also acting on his purpose. There is a purpose for what he said. Now, wounded people wound people. Hurt people hurt people. Healthy people can be blessed by healthy people. So, what do you do on purpose? Something I teach in my workshops is around language. The words hurt or they heal. It depends on which ones we choose. And it depends our purpose and what we're saying them. If you do something that you are not necessarily proud of, ask yourself, why did I do that? What was the purpose of that? If you do something that you are proud of, what was the purpose of that? Purpose by definition. Now, I'm sure Rev D will give you her spiritual definition, but Webster's version is, why something exists, why it was created, why it's there. And I encourage any of us who don't feel like you have a sense of purpose, or you're angry that you can't figure it out, don't go there. It's a waste of time. It's still guiding you, and it's okay. And it's about consciousness, and it's about awareness. There's meditation, there's prayer, there's support here at this community. Or you just let it go and say, like what Rev D said last week, just because I don't know the answer doesn't mean there isn't an answer. Just because you may not be able to identify in your journal, this is my purpose, doesn't mean there isn't one. We all have a purpose here. Oh my God, we all have a purpose here. We are not the 9 out of 10. We are the 1. And we're going to shift those statistics because we're sharing this kind of consciousness that we live on purpose. We live for a purpose, on purpose, with lots of room for all, accidents, happy accidents. This Lord or something better. You got to leave room for divine design. This isn't about control. Let me be clear. When I think of my living my purpose, I am not trying to control everything. I may have notes that I've written about this talk, but I promise you 70% of what I've just been talking about is extemporaneous. You got to leave room. This Lord or something better. So it's not about control. Like I have this purpose and this is what I'm going to do, right? Chelsea has a purpose of singing and storytelling and performing and sharing. But what it looks like, what it sounds like, what it says, right? It's open. So I encourage you, if you're taking notes, that I want you to fill in the blank. My purpose of blank serves. Whatever it is, you fill in that blank, and it could be different next week. It doesn't matter. It's okay. If you need some guidance, there are spiritual qualities that you can pull from. Spiritual qualities, shout out some spiritual qualities. Love. Peace. Joy. Gratitude. Healing. What? Wholeness. Forgiveness. Courage. Trust. Transformation. So, you're not leaving here with no ideas. I'm not letting you off the hook that easily. We want to give you tools. Look at the purpose statement of Inner Light at the back, on the back of your program. Look at it on the website. Every organization has a purpose statement. Think about our corporations, the purpose of a corporation, and then each corporation has a purpose. As individuals, let's operate on purpose. Will you join me in living on purpose? Yes. And give yourself room and have a lot of self-compassion if you've always resisted your purpose. It's scary. Our purpose can be super scary. Mine's freaking authenticity. Do you have any idea how terrifying that can be? I think you do. Right? Loving who you really are, as you are, and then telling other people about it on video in Turks and Caicos, Portugal, which is a beautiful country, by the way. I was there in March. You breathe with me? One more. But look up the poem. Look it up again. Bless you. Our purpose is meant to be visible. It is meant to help others. It is unafraid. And it will guide us. And look at the affirmations. We are divinely guided. We are divinely resourced. You are not alone in this. But we are a unique design. We do have a purpose here. And even if you hate it or don't want it or don't believe it, doesn't change the fact that it exists. And that's okay. Enjoy the ride. And thank you for joining me for living on purpose. Shall we go in prayer? Take one more breath with me, in and out. Purpose. This world needs more love. Intentional, courageous, determined love. There's a purpose that love serves at this time and for all time. We are all instruments of love, of peace, of authenticity. Maybe our purpose is connection. Maybe it's to help other people and ourselves feel seen, heard, and valued. We refuse to die with our dreams and purpose still inside. We're going to let it leak slowly like a balloon, or we're just going to blast it. It's our choice. And we have the support of this community to make it so. We pray now that we give others the benefit of the doubt, that we do not see them as acting out on purpose with blame, perhaps even shame, but get curious and walk alongside. That we do not participate as wounded people to wound more. No, the buck stops with us because our purpose serves. It heals, it uplifts. What it touches, it heals. It becomes. It is alive. Our purpose is alive in us. And we are so grateful, dear universe, for giving us a sense of purpose beyond our job, beyond our role as parent or brother or wife or partner. We are transcendent of roles. We are so much more, something bigger. We serve a higher purpose. And we turn the volume up on what that may be. And if we're not clear what it is, or we're just super mad at life for consequences and circumstances that has kept us from living our purpose, maybe it's our health, maybe it's our finances, maybe it's other people and the crap that we were told when we were kids, that you're not enough. Who are you to try to do that? No. We release that BS, because that does not come from you, universe. That comes from hurt people. And nothing's going to keep us down. Chelsea sang about, we've got this one life, let's use it. While we live in these bones, in this body, in this time in history, in this country, in this family, in this workspace, in this community. There is a purpose for this, and nothing that we've been through will be wasted. We recognize the blessings and the lessons, and we are conscious of everything that's going on around us. And we're curious, and we are patient, and we uplift, and we are forgiving, especially of ourselves. If we've been resisting our purpose, our dreams, our intention, and we've just been going the way of the wind, may we allow ourselves with more intentionality to be guided with our words, our beliefs, and our actions. Help us serve. Universe, please help us serve ourselves and those around us. And may we too have a purpose of serving all stakeholders that we touch, strangers or known alike. What an awesome opportunity to make a difference, to be motivated by truly meaningful work, by helping other people improve their lives, by improving our own. What a blessing. What an honor. And we step into this power knowing we are not alone, we are totally resourced, we are supported, and we have permission to live on purpose. Thank you, God. I release this prayer knowing that it is already done, and that all is well in my soul, all is well in our soul. Thank you for my role. And I step out of the way, and I allow it to be on purpose, and so it is. Right on. Good luck.